When we're looking into the future with these tensions that are escalating in the entire region, what do you think Iran's role is going to look like in this war?
I think Iran is the center of this. That is, how is it that Hezbollah has amassed this really large arsenal? I mean, it's a real army. Iran, where it all comes from. How is it that Hamas had gotten as powerful and sophisticated as it did? Iran. How about the Houthis? You know, a small group, maybe 10% of the population of a very impoverished country, Yemen. How did they get them? Iran. So I think if we're trying to understand what's going on in the region, there is a regional power, Iran, that's very hostile to the United States, still going around saying, you know, death to America. And so do the Houthis, death to America. But where does the money and where do the guns come from? Iran is the answer.
Do you think that's missing then from the international conversation that Iran is at the center of this?
I think it is missing. I think people don't want to talk about it partly because they say, well, you know, we don't want to expand all this. But again, then the message of that to Iran is, oh, everybody's afraid of us and we can keep on doing what we're doing. I think we would have a lot more luck. We, the United States, would have a lot more luck in deterring Iran if we said, you're going to start paying a price for this.
So is what you're saying is we're actually empowering and emboldening Iran by saying, hey, we don't want a conflict with Iran at all, and not pointedly calling them out?
That is exactly right. I mean, that is what I'm saying. That every time the United States looks at this situation and says, oh, we don't want a conflict with Iran, the message to Iran is the wrong one. The right message is, buddy, you're moving in a direction here that you're going to regret, because sooner or later, these actions will cause us to hit you.
I do now want to pivot just for a moment and talk about some news that broke right before you and I jumped in on this conversation, and that's that the Biden administration redesignated the Houthis as a terrorist organization. What do you make of that news?
Well, I think, you know, in a sense, they had to do it. That is, the Trump administration called them a terrorist group, and the Biden administration, very soon after coming in, undid that. Now, when you look at what the Houthis are doing, and you know the way we've actually now attacked Houthi sites in Yemen. It's ridiculous to say they're not a terrorist group when, you know, every week they're committing acts of terrorism. I would say, however, that the Biden administration has not gone as far as they could go. For example, under this designation that they've done, it is still not illegal to give them financial support. There is an additional step in the designation. They've been designated, I think, a specially designated terrorist group, but not an FTO, a foreign terrorist organization. With the full designation, the economic sanctions get stronger and the legal position gets stronger. I'd like to see the administration take the extra step.
In your expert opinion here, why don't you think they did take that extra step, at least right now?
So there is an explanation, which is it's more complicated legally. You need, you know, more evidence. It takes more time. So I like to think they did what they could do instantly, and they're preparing to take the additional step. I hope that's right. I don't know.
We're sitting here just 3 months after the Israel-Hamas war started. We're seeing this escalation all throughout the region. What's on your radar that we should be looking out for when it comes to what's happening next?
I think the thing that would be the most tragic would be a full Israel-Hezbollah war. There have been skirmishes on the border, but both sides seem to want to keep it to the border. And I'd say the level of hostilities is actually lower today than it was, say, a month ago. But that's something certainly to watch out for. The other thing is, you know, within the last day or so, Iran directly has hit sites in Iraq and Syria and Pakistan of groups that it calls terrorist groups. So that's something else to watch. Is Iran going to actually start hitting directly and not by proxy. I certainly don't think they'll do that when it comes to shipping. I think they'll leave that with the Houthis. But are these strikes by Iran in the last day or so a change in its behavior, or are we going to see more of them?
Well, as the situation continues to unfold, I hope you come back on to provide your insights. Elliott Abrams, thank you so much for joining me.